Why do I feel like I look like Baby Bop? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Erica, aka Paperback Girly. I went ahead and put all of my summer TBR into one shelf on Goodreads. I decided that it would be cool to maybe try where we read the highest and the lowest rated books on my summer TBR. I'm gonna go ahead and sort it by ratings. Do average rating. Ooh, the highest average rated book on my summer TBR is The House in the Cerulean Sea. And then let's find out what the lowest rated is. Ooh, Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. I'm gonna go get those two books. We have our highest rated book, which is The House in the Cerulean Sea. It had a 4.4 star average rating. And then the lowest rated is Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. And this, I believe, had a 3.5. I think these two are completely contrasting stories. I'm very excited to get into both of them. Without further ado, let's get to reading. I'm not even gonna lie, I am a little bit anxious, I guess, about this just because it is such a different read than what I'm used to, but I'm excited because it's getting me out of my comfort zone. The best. I wanted to update you guys because I'm officially 100 pages into the book and I have a lot of thoughts. Wasn't really sure what to think going into it, and I was definitely going into this super blindly, but I am getting a cozy fantasy vibe, and I think it's like kind of the similar vibe to what I was getting to Legends and Lattes. Basically, we meet this man named Linus, and he works for this government agency which kind of regulates orphanages. These orphanages house kids typically that have magical powers. Actually, I think all of them have magical powers. And so his job is to go to these orphanages and make sure that whoever is running the orphanage makes sure that that orphanage is being run correctly or by the standards of dichotomy. Whenever I first opened the book, I kind of took a peek at some of the little author blurbs. There's one that says 1984 meets the Umbrella Academy with a pinch of Douglas Adams thrown in. I'm not sure who Douglas Adams is, but I have watched the Umbrella Academy and I have read 1984. I actually read it recently in January, and I'm definitely getting that 1984 vibe, that very dystopian vibe coming from the government agency. And there's all these propagandist posters, there's all these sayings that are constantly being thrown around him in his world, and much like Winston, who is the main character in 1984, he's almost having this like awakening to this different side of life, or this more enlightened side of life that's being heavily oppressed by whatever dystopian power is at be. And then I've heard that this gives like Studio Ghibli vibes, and I'm definitely getting that. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this particular movie, but I watched Klaus in December of last year, but I'm literally thinking of that movie as this book. This very set in his way, almost rigid man. It also reminds me of A Man Called Ove. So it's like my thoughts are all over the place and I'm connecting so many different books and influences and other tropes that I've seen in other different books to this book, or getting that same vibe, and I find myself just kind of like smiling to myself. It's very cozy. It has like a light humor to it, and yeah, I'm actually really enjoying this book so far. Good morning, reader friends and book besties. This is actually really harsh lighting. Maybe I shouldn't film out here. I don't know, we're already here. Good morning. It is almost 7 o'clock in the morning. It is 6:55. It is July 16th. Maybe we'll turn this way. It's been a couple days since I've picked up my camera, and I've actually just recently gotten a new job, so that's taken up a lot more of my time than I anticipated. But I carved out some time this morning to share with you guys my thoughts about the first book that we read, The House in the Cerulean Sea, and the second book that we read, Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. I've already talked a little bit about The House in the Cerulean Sea, and I'll save my ratings till the very end, but I wanted to talk about Drunk on Love by Jasmine Guillory. And this book is the lowest rated book that we were to read for this little reading challenge. I'm actually so surprised by how much I like this book. We're following Margot and Luke, and Margot co-owns with her brother a Napa Valley vineyard, and this vineyard is called Noble Family Vineyard or something like that. She and her brother inherited it from her uncle, and in that sense it gives me the same exact vibe as Secretly Yours and Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. Very similar tropes, very similar vibe in that they own a Napa Valley winery. It's been in their family for a while. I really enjoyed the pacing of the book. I feel like the pacing was perfect. Everything happened in such a fluid way, and it was almost like I was watching a movie. I really enjoyed the pacing of the book. Basically, Luke and Margot have like a one-night stand, and then literally the next day they find out that they're going to be working
together because her brother had recently hired somebody and she didn't know that the person that she was hooking up with was her new hire. There's like that sort of forbidden trope, that forbidden love trope, I guess, or like the inability to be together because they are co-workers and she is his boss. There's also a bit of a reverse age gap going on. So she is like 34 and he's 28, which isn't a huge age gap, especially at that age, but the fact that it was reverse age gap was like something that I really liked, and it wasn't something that was too much of a barrier. I don't know, this is my first official Jasmine Guillory book and I genuinely am surprised. Like, not only am I surprised by how much I liked it because it was like the lowest rated book that we were to read for this challenge, but I'm also really surprised because it was like such an easy read. I was kind of flying through it, and even this morning, I started this morning with maybe like 80 pages or 90 pages, and it only took me about an hour and a half to complete all that, and so I think that's really good. We have officially read 2 books. We've read The House in the Cerulean Sea, which for me, I rated a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the book. I was actually blown away by how much I enjoyed this book. If I'm thinking about my rating right now for Jasmine Guillory's Junk on Love, I really want to give this a 4 out of 5 stars. There were some things that kind of like bothered me. There was a trope where kind of like both of the characters had this secret. It wasn't my favorite, but like my overall enjoyment of the book was very high. I felt like I was just kind of like immersing myself in the world and in the environment. Even though this is the lowest rated book on our TBR, I think I'm gonna rate it a 4 out of 5 stars. If I wanted to be picky, I would maybe say 3.75, but essentially it is a 4 out of 5 star for me. I really did enjoy the book. If there are books like this on my summer TBR, then I am going to have an amazing rest of my summer, okay? Let me tell you. I appreciate you so much for watching this video, and I hope you stick around maybe for another one. Hint, hint, if you made it to this point in the video, we're bringing back the little free library hunts. See you then.